So, how many real estate analysts and experts does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, I don't really know, but the important thing is we're never really going to find out based on the news we're getting. Hey, I'm Bill Gross. This is my weekly real estate update. And regularly, I go through the real estate news and look for data to help you make the best decisions. And along the way, find a lot of articles where there's a lot of nonsense. Now, the real estate news, if you follow me, is constantly misleading us, worse than the fake news of the regular news or political news. There actually were some great things to report this past week, some really what I would call pieces of good news. One is overall for the market that the mortgage rates dropped. In fact, rates dropped about a 1/4% last week alone, from 6.63 down to 6.34%. And for the month, it's gone down from about 7.34 to again 6.34%, almost a full drop in interest rates, which will affect the ability of people to buy property. So that's a fantastic piece of good news that should be leading any real estate news, and unfortunately is not, because they say in real estate in news, if it bleeds, it leads. And so constantly we're giving the bad news, but we're very rarely getting the good news. There's another big piece of news that just came out also, which was that last week the quasi-government agencies Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac raised their conforming limits by 12%. And so that means in low market areas, the rates went up to the loans that they will lend went up to $726,200. And in high balance areas like LA County, where I live, it's gone up to $1,089,300. And what this means is, as a result of all that, is there'll be more loan opportunities for people, which will mean also at a lower price, better loan to values. In every regard, it's an opportunity for buyers to have more choices for loans to make it more affordable. There was actually even a third piece of very interesting, I thought, very good news, kind of hard to find and understand because I don't think the news is looking for it. But Redfin did a study and they're reporting that home delistings hit a record high in November as buyers and sellers retreat. Now, a housing crash happens when the sellers are forced to sell and there's no buyers around. That's not what's happening here. In fact, the opposite, as Redfin reports, over 2%, which is a record of the listings, came off the market, telling us the sellers decided, nah, I'm okay holding on to the property. In many cases, they have a low interest rate, they have a lot of equity, and while they like to move, they don't have to move. This is not the scenario of a housing crash at all, let alone, it's certainly not a replay of 2008, 2009. So we had what I would call three pieces of really good news that anybody would in the market should know about, more importantly, but also would be positive to encourage people to buy. So instead, what does the news report? Well, I just think a bunch of junk. Let's take a look at the first one. The first is a repeat violator. This is U.S. News. Now, this is funny. The headline is a Reuters poll quoting analysts. So, who's accountable on this article? Reuters? No. U.S. News is quoting Reuters. It's not even Reuters because they're quoting analysts. Not even really, because if you look at the article and go a little deeper, you're going to find that the byline of this article is in Bengaluru, a large capital city in the southern province of India, 8 million people. But so here's a guy in India who's writing an article. Nothing wrong with people from India writing articles about the U.S. market. But again, take a look at the structure here. U.S. News is quoting Reuters, which is quoting analysts. Let's see. And the analysts are predicting a 12% drop in rates, or do they? Not really, because there's a lot of numbers in here. There's a reference to Case-Shiller's poll. They have a poll where they go to 25 housing strategists. I don't know what a housing strategist is. I guess I'm a housing strategist. So Case-Shiller did a poll of strategists, and that had a piece of information, but that's not predicting 12% drop. He quoted a analyst, actually two analysts in this article. One they actually quoted was Matthew Gardner, who is the chief economist at Windermere, a great company in Northwest United States. So not exactly a national company. He's not normally thought of as a national expert on the market, but even he just says home prices will be somewhat protected by inventory constraints. That's not exactly saying a prediction of housing prices dropping. He's saying why they won't drop much. And there's another analyst quoted, Crystal Sunbury. She's a senior senior real estate analyst at RSM consulting firm. Okay, what does she say? Expensive price of homes coupled with high mortgage rates have made housing unaffordable for many Americans. Well, yeah, many Americans can't afford to buy houses. That's not news. The question is, will less be able to buy going forward and cause prices to go down or not? Not her fault. I'm just pointing out that the writer of the article, by putting her quote in, this is really nonsense. It has nothing to do with, remember, again, the article was housing prices to fall 12%, 12%. According to who? Analysts. It's not there. So you have an article in US News quoting somebody, not even quoting the experts or giving any real reasons for it. So I would say that's one of the worst articles I've read in the last week. But the worst by far, I think, is this one by, where is it? Oops, Market Watch. Market Watch is a repeat offender as far as I'm concerned. So they have an article, they've been predicting housing crashes over and over and over again. And some articles had housing crashes and booms in the same article. So this one says flatlined or not. Okay, now they've given up predicting anything. 5 economists and real estate pros on what will happen to the housing market next. That sounds interesting. And they say predictions for housing prices, mortgage rates, and the overall market at the close of 2022. Now, I'm not sure what takes to be a housing pro. Technically, I'm a housing pro. I don't think my predictions worthy of being a Market Watch, a national publication. I would thought they'd find better than that, but maybe not. So let's take a look at their predictions. Prediction one: prices could come down in some markets. Could. Not will, could. That's not a prediction. Of course, they could go down, they could go up, they could stay the same. It's not a prediction. So the article's nonsense. And after trying to document nonsense, oh, see the best mortgage rates you may get here. So let's get you, a click to advertise as to why you should jump into it right in the middle of the article. Has nothing to do with the article at all. Number two prediction: but major price drops are unlikely. Now, last week they said they were likely, but more than that, that major price drops are unlikely is hardly a prediction. I mean, are you saying major price drops in the end of the month, in the last quarter, in the last month, in the year, ever again? Doesn't really say. So again, not really a prediction. Number three, um, prices will plateau in most areas. Prices always almost plateau in most areas. In most areas, they plateau, and then some are up and some are down. That's the nature of the market. So predicting the plateau in most markets, in most areas, is really not predicting anything. Number four, buyers should expect fewer listings. Now, really, they're predicting what's going to continue of what's been going on. There've been historic low listings since the pandemic for the last 2 years. Now, this third year post pandemic, still continuing low inventory, record low inventory. Now, is that because there's less houses for sale? Or maybe it's because of like all of retail where you use less inventory. Maybe housing is now also getting by with less inventory. It used to be houses would stay on the market for 60, 90 days. Well, now buyers know a house that's been on the market more than 30 days is not really priced properly. And so what's happened is the inventory's gotten more efficient with all the apps and technology, and maybe this is the new normal. I don't know, but that's my prediction. Is that's just the new normal? But we'll see. Prediction number 5 of these predictions: annual price gains will ease. Now, this is a prediction that the record high price gains of the last 2 years won't continue. Not sure that's really much of a prediction. I guess they won't continue to be at a record pace. Okay, I guess. Number 6, the market is rebalancing. I don't know what that means. Rebalancing, every day it's balanced. There's buyers or sellers. There's buyers who either buy the property or pass on the property, and the market rebalances that day. It might rebalance up, might rebalance down. It's always in balance. So, not sure what prediction 6, the market is rebalancing, means. And then number 7 is just the craziest. Home purchase timelines could accelerate as a matter of better than expected inflation reading from mid November. I guess that's saying that if inflation being less than we thought, people buy houses sooner. Is that accelerating a timeline or later? I'm not sure which, but it says it could accelerate some home purchase timelines and reverse some of the recent slowing in home price growth. as shoppers capitalize on the lower rate. So I guess what he's saying is that the reduction in rates might cause more people to buy houses, could accelerate. I'm not sure that's really qualifies. Is that prediction? So I don't know. Of these seven, are any even predictions? And I don't think any of them are even documented really in the information or basis as to why you would believe that. So overall, on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being useful, one being worthless, this kind of falls in the 2 or 3 category in my book. What do you see? Put your comment below, or you tell me, did you find this information useful or helpful? I didn't. So what do you do? I think the most important thing is to know real estate is local. Each market's different, each city, county, but even micro neighborhoods. The numbers, you got to look at that area and see where the market is headed. That's why you need an expert. And so you need to make the decision for you, not what Market Watch is telling you or US News. If it's time for you to sell, it's time for you to sell. If it's time for you to buy, it's time for you to buy. Make the decision based on your situation and make the best tactics to make that decision effective. That's always the best strategy in any market. As always, if I can help you with that, call me, text me, email me. I'm Bill Gross, the LA probate expert. And as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.